Greetings, Operations Manager Stewart Kreltszheim, CFA Region 23. Welcome to September 2009's edition of our Region 23 report. Firstly, the seasonal outlook, and these were the main conclusions of the recent bushfire seasonal assessment workshop held in Melbourne in August. And it basically talks about, consistent with the developing El Nino, the rainfall outlook for spring looks like being below normal across most of the eastern seaboard. And that's going to result in above normal fire potential across the state, and the forested areas of concern, most concern, will be Dandenong Ranges, Otway Ranges, Grampians, Macedon Bendigo Corridor, and the water catchments of Melbourne and East Gippsland. In all regions, we expect an early start to our fire season, and although we've had about average rainfall recently, it is not expected to mitigate the long-term drying effects of the state. Move in on. Staff movements. We've had a number of our off staff, including myself, been on some leave prior to the fire danger period. Paul Horton's off at the moment, then followed by Ash Mills. Dave Harris has also been on a couple of weeks off. So we've had Shane Sutton and Peter Bell helping out in the region, which is great because they both know the patch very well. Di Simpson's moved across to the Bushfire Preparedness Project to do some GIS work, and Mike Glenister, one of our members from Wangaratta North, has helped out in the short term, and I've been able to entice Ziggy Collins back into the fold. Ziggy was the Regional Support Officer here for 5 years in Region 23, and she's going to come back into the Basso role, which means she can hit the ground running, knows the people, knows the processes, which is great. Richie Gardner's also moved away from the training ground to the Bushfire Project to do some township protection planning, and in his place, Michael Dawes from South Wangaratta. Michael's been a pad operator there and done a lot of training, so it'll be great to have Mike on board. Some milestones across the region. Benalla Urban and Rural Fire Brigades merged at the end of last financial year, and also Mansfield Urban and Rural Brigades merged. So they are now Benalla Fire Brigade and Mansfield Fire Brigade. Congratulations to both those brigades. There are no more petrol pumps in Region 23, so all our tankers are now diesel pump tankers, which is fantastic. The last two being Barjag and Chesney Vale were replaced by 2.4Cs recently. That's 2,000 litres plus crew cab 4-wheel drive tankers. So nice new vehicles to our additions to our fleet. We've also had the first pumper tanker into Region 23. Now that's probably going to be a one-off. Looks like CFA won't be building any more pumper tankers. We'll be going for more the beefed up 3.4C tanker, or some modifications to the pumper, which will be more suitable to the urban type environment. But if you're passing Mount Buller, have a look at that vehicle. It's pretty snazzy. There is a number of Fire Ready Victoria meetings across the northeast area. I believe 80 to 100 being organised. Our community is really sucking up the information, so we'll be getting our presenters out and pumping the message leading up to the fire season. Also, a lot of work being done on township protection plans as part of the bushfire project. There is a number of priorities across the state. We haven't hit the top 50. I believe that's a good thing in one sense. We've got our own priorities here in the northeast area, and in particular Region 23. So we'll start off with places like Ptolemy and Sawmill Settlement and the Whitfield Chestnut areas, and then we'll work through the rest of our townships in Region 23 as time goes on. That's a bit of a moving feast as the template is modified as we look through it and we start working through it, but we're doing a lot of work on township protection planning across the patch. A lot of the work and a lot of the information is already there. We've been capturing it for years in our wildfire response plans, in our fire prevention plans, and in our FOPS plans with DSE. There's a heap of projects going across the state, some of them driven by CFA, some of them by the Emergency Services Commission, some by government. So there's a lot of things like the neighbourhood safer places or places of last resort, whatever you want to call them. There is a project on sirens, etc. So as we get more information on those, we will be pumping it out to our people. The Royal Commission continues. I thank you for your support. It's been a hard slog over the months, but now I'm putting that aside. We've got a fire season ahead of us, and we need to concentrate on our preparation work, which I know all the groups are starting to do. As I was at Wangaratta Group on Tuesday night, Benalla last night, and Mansfield Group tonight, and I know each of those groups were very heavily focused on the upcoming fire season. One of the things that we've done at group level is functional delegation of some of the roles. For a long time we have had group training officers to share the load of group training from the group officer. Now we've moved into the next stage, which is a deputy group officer in charge of fire prevention. And what his job will be is to gather the data and the priorities from the individual brigades early on and be able to sit down with a DSE, the Municipal Fire Prevention Officer, and other members of the group management team and make some priorities so we can go to those forums with a really solid plan and talk to Vic Roads, municipalities, DSE, etc. Now I think that's going to work really well for us. Another one is a Deputy Group Officer in charge of human resources. Now that's a fancy way of saying that we will have someone talking with our brigade captains and looking for those people within our brigades who are guns, who can step into roles like planning and logistics and staging area manager, because they may have talents that we don't know about. I was speaking to a gentleman at Rutherglen the other day, a new member, and he said, you know, I wouldn't mind getting into logistics. I'm involved heavily in logistics management at the at Barnawatha in the big transport site there. Now what a great guy to come in to our logistics team. Now a couple of other things. New contact books out. Yellow is the old contact book, blue is the new, so I've been handing them out at group meetings and many of them have been posted out. The other thing is that we have now got new Northeast Area map books. Some fantastic work by the mapping committee of our Northeast Area to input into the second edition. So this was the first edition. It's got a picture of the gorge at Mount Buffalo National Park. That has been replaced in your tankers by the second edition of the map book. It's got the brown spine down it. It's got second edition obviously written across it, and it's got a picture of Wallace's hut on the front. Now it's critical for operational use that you use these new map books. Now the reason for that is that when you get a message on your pager, it will have a map reference, and that will refer to this map book that's got some additional pages in it. So please ensure that you use this one for operational use. Last but not least, I want to talk to you about a bit of a success story. We've done a lot of investigation into some incidents and scenarios which happened at around the February 7th bushfires. Now we know that 40 to 60 of our people, CFA people, are alive today because of initiatives that we put in place since 1983. So I'm talking about vehicle design, I'm talking about training, I'm talking about PPC. So as a direct result of the work that we've done, those people are alive, and I think that's something that we should celebrate. Well done. I'll talk to you again very soon and look forward to seeing you at group meetings and the pre-season functions.